got big dreams, I'ma do big things. Yeah, you see me on the big screen looking so clean. I don't move slow, I move fast, right past.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Sam Plays here. I am back at it with another First Descendant video. I was gone for a few days just because I had some IRL stuff to take care of, but we are back on the grind. That October 10th patch is coming really soon. I can't wait. I'm super hyped for it. But basically, I ended up doing a poll a few days ago just asking like what you guys want to see, where you guys are at in the game, and the poll actually tied between two options. It was how to progress optimally in the First Descendant and the 10 things I want added to the game. So we're gonna go ahead and do both of those videos. I'll do this one first and then I'll do the other one in the next video. But we've gotten a lot of changes. Freyna just got absolutely giga buffed. She is insane. Like, you just throw on Contagion and you just clear an entire room of mobs. She just went to S tier. It's crazy. She is on another level after the buff. However, I am not going to fully invest into my Freyna since Ultimate Freyna is coming out really soon. So I'm going to wait and then I'll make videos on that once Ultimate Freyna comes out. But let's go ahead and talk about, depending on where you're at in the game, as long as you haven't downed everything in the game, you should still be able to get some value off of this video. Now, I always say the importance of having a good gun, and the reason why I say that is because the gun is going to be more important than a fully invested Descendant, unless you're playing like Ultimate Glaive, which, you know, you have to like fully invest to get skill duration and, you know, like cooldown reduction. But besides that, generally if you have a maxed gun, you can throw on like a budget Descendant build, which is, I've done so many videos on it by now, but basically your gun is going to take priority over the Descendant. And the good thing about a gun is that you can throw it on anyone you want, and you're not just spending all those resources locked into like a spellcaster build essentially. So the reason why the gun build is good is because it's a lot more flexible, because you can just spec into survivability over damage, right? So that's what I did to clear all the content in the game, and I believe that's the most optimal way to do it, because you're not just like tunneling into like, let's say like a nuke epic or something, right? And then you hit a wall because they're resistant to fire, or what, you know, they're resistant to spells, whatever the case may be. However, a gun is always going to be able to carry you. It's going to be consistent. So as far as like what to prioritize to progress optimally, the first thing is going to be a gun. Now, obviously, I am going to say that you should go for Enduring Legacy. However, anytime I say that, there's people that are like, oh, I can't get Enduring Legacy, or I can't farm it right now, it's too hard. So if that's the case and you are at the point to where farming EL is too hard for you, then the first thing you're lacking is a good gun to begin with. Now, a good starter gun is going to be the Thunder Cage, because that's going to allow you to clear the outposts like really quickly, and you'll be able to farm that much more efficiently because the Thunder Cage has an AoE explosion damage, right? You throw in Sweeping Squad and then you just completely nuke everything. This is going to be my Thunder Cage build, so if you wanted to copy it, if you are in that early game and you just wanted a good build, this is what I ran for my early game. Granted, it is fully invested. You don't have to fully invest in this. You can get away with like half investing in it and still clear those outposts and those reactor bosses, since they did get heavily nerfed. But regardless, basically you can take the Thunder Cage and then you can do one of two options. If you are powerful enough, you can go farm Enduring Legacy, which this is going to clear all content in the game. It's like one of the best bossing weapons in the game, if not the best. And or you can take the easier route and farm for Greg's. Now, between the two, I think they are both solid options, but basically I would recommend having one of these guns. The Greg's can be a little bit tricky to use, especially if you are on console, because it can be hard to aim because it does have some kickback. But this is a gun that you would want to max. Like, you want to max all 5 copies of it, or 4 copies. Basically get it to max rank, and that's when it truly shines, because you're getting all those bombardments. Now, if you don't have that many catalysts, I would prioritize Enduring Legacy, but the Greg's is a really good option if you can't yet farm the Enduring Legacy, because Greg's can be farmed in normal mode, so it's much easier to get than EL is if you aren't able to down those like hard content bosses and or outposts. So that's what I would prioritize. Build up your Thunder Cage a little bit to the point to where you can clear the outpost, and then you can go for Greg's and or Enduring Legacy if you are able to go for it. And then you want to full send it, you want to get max copies, and you want to max it out. After that, everything else is smooth selling. That's going to be enough for you to beat any boss in the game, literally. But if you wanted to take it a step further and then boost your gun damage even more, The next thing you would want to do is pick a Descendant. So you want a good bossing character. If you are wanting to heavily invest into like Ultimate Glay, she can also run the Executor shotgun since that just got buffed. And it does an insane amount of damage. However, you're going to be having to use a lot of Catalyst on that because she basically needs to be full build for you to get that infinite ammo and cooldown reduction going. And you also have to have like a good reactor. So she's a lot harder to set up than something like Haley, where you can just throw like shot focus and then a couple survivability mods on and you just boost whatever your gun, like whether it be like, you know, Greg's Enduring Legacy. She is an insane character and she will be able to carry you throughout the hard content. I prefer gun Haley over nuke Haley just because she requires like much less investment and that enables me to spec more into survivability over just like glass cannon. So that's why I say gun builds are always just better because they're more flexible. You're not locking yourself into like a spellcaster build. Granted, if you do invest into Haley with the spellcast build, you'll be able to down like most of the bosses pretty easily, but once you get to Gluttony, you're gonna need like a Enduring Legacy or some other gun that's pumped up because Gluttony is like resistant to spell damage. So yeah, it can be rough once you're at those later game bosses. Guns are always more consistent. So if I was gonna go for a bossing character, I would absolutely go for Haley or Ultimate Glay. And then, of course, you do want to unlock Sharon and Enzo. These two characters are extremely important. Enzo is going to help you unlock those Volt Mats, which you are going to be needing a lot of to craft a lot of things in the game. He's also really good at farming Kuiper because with the Volts, they also give you Kuiper. And then, of course, Sharon, you're going to need her like absolutely because she is the only one who can hack the outpost, and that's how you're going to get the Amorph materials if you are not yet able to clear those bosses. So you will need these two characters to progress in the game and just unlock everything the game has to offer. Do not sleep on those characters, you will need them. Then you want to have a farming character. So obviously Ultimate Bunny is going to be really good at this. After the buffs, you could also do Freyna. Viessa, she also has a movement speed increase. She's not as good as like Freyna and Ultimate Bunny, but she can work. But the idea is to have one bossing character and one farming character, and that'll be enough to get you through the game. So I would recommend unlocking Ultimate Bunny because she is extremely good at farming. She can cut your grind time down significantly, so that's who I would prioritize. But if you wanted to go with Freyna, you absolutely could because with her Contagion mod now, she's an absolute menace. She can just like insta clear rooms, so you know, prioritize one of those. I would still go with Ultimate Bunny though, but Freyna is definitely a good option. Alright, so we've talked about unlocking a good gun and maxing it out, and then prioritizing a Descendant. So you want to have one bosser and one really good farmer. The next thing you need to prioritize would be good external components. So what you're looking for is external components like this, because these do scale up with your mods. So let's say I throw on an increased HP mod. Let's say this didn't have a double roll max HP. So we're at 15,763. Let me see if I have one. This one isn't double rolled, right? So let's throw this on. And even though it says 800, it drops it by like 2.3k, right? So it scales up with your mods. So you always want to look for these double rolls with the max HP. This is going to help your survivability tremendously. My recommendation would to be do 3 HP external components and then 1 defense external component. I don't know why I have shield on here. Oh, it's because I was using Haley. Let me switch this. There we go. So see how my defense is at 4,000 right now? If I take this and then put on my double roll defense, we just went all the way to 18.5k, right? It's a significant increase, even though this is only giving me like 7.5k. Again, it scales up with your mods. Now, I don't have increased defense on my Valby. I just have spear and shield, but you guys get the idea. You always want to have 3 HP externals and then 1 defense external, unless you are playing like a shield character, in which case you would like prioritize shield, but it's like very niche. Most characters are just going to prioritize HP and then like 1 defense external component. So make sure you are looking out for those double rolls. Another thing you need to prioritize, and I know a lot of people hate these. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan either. However, you want to do your invasions because they do give you some small buffs to your character, as well as they give you a shit ton of gold. Like, I don't care if you finish bronze, silver, if you can't get gold, whatever the case may be, you do want to prioritize these. It is a massive amount of gold that these give you. Make sure you are doing these. They are now able to be done in public operations operations. So if you're maybe not as geared as you should be to take these on, because some of them can be like really easy, right? While others are just like really, really hard. I mean, I'm like full build, cleared all content in the game, and I still sometimes die on certain bosses. I just have to like play a little smarter, take cover, change my build around a little bit, stuff like that. But make sure you are getting these done. It is very important. You can use it to unlock Haley, get gold, and level up your character via inversions. So these right here. Now granted, these aren't going to be like insane buffs, but they are going to be substantial. Like, it, you know, for this one, right, when you're farming, when you defeat an enemy, it gives you 9.5% HP up to 5 stacks. That's pretty significant, right? That's almost 50% HP increase if you're just like killing big hordes of groups. This one gives you MP recovery. You know, these can be very important. They're not going to be like insane value, but they are going to have some value. So along with the gold that you get from the invasions, you're also getting Haley shards. You're getting inversion points to further buff your character. Just make sure you're doing them. I know they suck. A lot of people don't like them, but just push through it. They don't take a long time. They've been nerfed, and you're able to queue up in public now. Do not skip out on them, because back in my day, we had to do the Valby run, and man, it was hard to get gold, let me tell you, because the gatekeep in the late game is the gold, not the Kuiper, because once you start maxing out all your mods, you're not going to use the Kuiper anymore, right? So gold is the most valuable currency out of the two options. Like, it's not even close. In the early game, the Kuiper is going to seem like the main currency that you need to farm, but it is the gold in the end game. Now, this might seem like a very, very obvious thing. However, I'm just going to say it anyway, because it wouldn't be much of a progression video if I didn't highlight the importance of these. You always need to have one of these crystallization catalysts cooking at all times. Now, if you were being really, really sweaty, you could do 3 of these a day, but most people are probably doing 2 a day. You always want to stack these up. It is going to be your bread and butter of getting stronger, as well as energy activators. I don't have one cooking right now just because I already have so many, right? Like, I have 11. I really don't need more at the moment, but you always want to be crafting the catalysts and the energy activators as much as you can, as well as your fine adjustment control axes. These are the 3 most important materials in the game. You are going to need a shit ton of these. So make sure you always, if you have the materials and the patterns, to go farm the materials to put them in the research, because these are how you are going to get stronger. Now, granted, you can get away with budget builds on a lot of these characters. So make sure you are constantly researching these if you are trying to min-max, because these are going to be extremely important. You always want to be crafting these anytime you are able to. So let's summarize and break it down in the order. First, as soon as you enter hard mode, you're going to max your Thunder Cage and or half max it up until the point to where you are able to clear those outposts. Once you are able to do that, you are going to focus on a farming character to unlock, which in my opinion should be Ultimate Bunny. You can use other characters, but she is going to be the best at what she does, which is farming. So now that you have a max Thunder Cage and Ultimate Bunny, you are pretty much free to do any outpost in the game, which you are then going to use to either farm Greg's and or EL. I recommend Enduring Legacy, but you can do Greg's as well. It's a solid option. And then after that, you are going to unlock a bossing characters. So my 2 recommendations would be Ultimate Glay and Haley. Obviously, if you spend the $20 to just buy Haley, that's going to be a lot easier, but if you did want to farm her, you will have to be strong enough to do those special operations. Keep in mind, if you do want to go farm Ultimate Glay, she has 6% drop chances on all of her ultimate pieces, so she is extremely hard, and she requires a lot of investment before she truly comes online to be able to nuke those bosses. Haley is a lot more beginner friendly, so just my 2 cents. Haley is the big booba waifu, so it is up to you of which one you want to go for. And Ultimate Glay is mommy, so hey, you know, I'll leave it up to you. But these should be your 2 options when you're trying to boss. You can go for Ultimate Lepic, however, he's kind of niche. He can do a lot of damage on all the bosses, but he's particularly good on stuff like Frostwalker and things like that. I prefer to go for Descendants that can just buff my weapon damage. So basically, get a good farmer, get a good bosser, max out a single weapon, whichever it is, after the Thunder Cage, and you will be able to clear all content in the game. As I said before about weapon builds, they are great because it allows you to throw on survivability, since we do not have, like at this moment, we don't have a lot of options to boost our gun damage. The only thing really you have is shot focus and walk a tightrope. So that leaves you to be able to, instead of fully investing like this, to where you're investing in all damage and crit and chill and all of that, now you can come over here and just spec into survivability, meaning you won't ever be dying to those bosses. You'll be really tanky, and you're not sacrificing any damage for it, right? Because all the damage is coming from your gun. Haley's Cold Fury is buffing up that gun damage. There are other characters like Valby with Supply Moisture. You also have like Blair with his gun builds. A lot of the Descendants can boost your gun weapons, but Haley by far is one of the best. So I'll leave it up to you. Basically, as long as you have a good max gun and you have a Descendant that is further boosting your damage of that gun, you know, it could be Enzo, Blair, Haley, Galay, whatever the case may be, that is going to be your most consistent way of downing all the bosses without worrying too much about what they're strong and weak to. And another thing that I like about it is you don't have to worry about like the God Reactor unless you're playing like Ultimate Glay where you want like skill cooldown, skill duration, right? With gun builds, it doesn't matter because you're not casting any abilities, right? You're just kind of like trying to usually get like skill duration, skill cooldown, or whatever, which you don't have to match that specific reactor to the gun, because you're not really casting spells, right? Whereas a spell build, you are having to like min-max it to the point to where it's like you have to have the correct weapon, you have to have the correct stats, all that good stuff. Granted, we are getting reactor changes soon, so that will probably change. But regardless, and once you're in the later game, you can also like build up your VSS, so you can do like a Vesper's farm or her solo fortress farm to level up weapon proficiency and things like that. However, that's much later in the late game. Anyways, guys, that's how you're going to progress optimally. I feel like I've broken it down in a simple enough way. Pick your waifu, pick your big booba, go clear some content. Whoever you vibe with more. I mean, most of these guys are pretty viable. You can make them work, but you know, the optimal way would be one bosser, one farmer, get a good gun, GG. That's basically it. I mean, need I say more, man? All right, just pick Haley. That's all I'm gonna say. Maybe we pick Glay, actually. I'm just kidding, guys. Whoever you want, they're both good. Just pick one. Alright, I'm gonna stop now. Yeah! I love this game. Anyways, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I know I was gone for a few days, but hopefully I'll be able to pump out some videos more regularly now that I got some IRL stuff taken care of. Appreciate you guys, as always, for watching. Y'all take care. I am Samix Plays. Drop a sub if you like the video. Y'all take care. We are 9 days away from that ultimate Freyna booty. I'm ready, dude. Y'all have a good one. Thanks so much for watching. Peace. Yo.